Now let's make a druid deck, shall we? I mean, I don't have some of the newer cards, but I do have most of the basic ones. Yeah, I'll just play with two Innervates. I usually play with one. That's because I got so used to playing a Reno Druid. Before a lot of people made their Reno Druid out, I was playing with Reno Druid just because, especially against Patron Warrior. Of course, it's not anywhere higher ranks or anything like that, but the reason why I did Reno Druid is because when Keeper of the Grove was about to be changed, and even before it changed, um, Keeper of the Grove was a 2/4. Um, and the reason why I mentioned Patron Warrior is because I actually switched out one Keeper of the Grove against Patron because 2 attack is easily uh, allowing the patrons to duplicate itself after attacking a 2/4 um, Keeper of the Grove before it's nerf down to a 2/2. So I switched out one for the old classic Spellbreaker for its silence. And the reason why I still kept a Keeper of the Grove is because of the other choose one, which is dealing 2 damage, and it's really good against Ice Block or Ice Barrier. Well, more so for Ice Barrier because you don't have to trigger it, and it's also good for Ice Block because you are able to deal damage, um, at least in a different way, um, aside from using hero power. So, regardless of that, I am currently building a semi-taunt tempo druid here. I'm trying to pick out certain cards um, that deal enough damage to the health of the creatures as minimal as possible. And also, I love the power of the Corrupted Seer because it is an option for AoE damage, even if I'm also hurting my own creatures. Uh, More importantly, uh, for certain deck archetypes, uh, you don't really play a lot of minions, or your minions are so strong that 2 health, um, as long as you play in the right order, the 2 health should not matter too much for your own minions. Whereas a lot of people who play aggro creatures, they tend to be damaged if not taken out by the Corrupted Seer. And it is 1 cost cheaper than Baron Geddon. And it's also just a decoy creature that you never know. They could waste a spell on it just because they don't want to trade into a silly creature like a Corrupted Seer. So I love the Corrupted Seer. I've used it many times during a Tavern Brawl where there were a lot of stealth, you know, wind furied creatures, um, so on and so on. Uh, it acts just like an abomination, if anything. Uh, of course, it doesn't have taunt, so it's not really an abomination, but uh, it plays pretty well into that. And an abomination is also a good choice if you do not have Corruptus here. Uh, and it's 1 cost cheaper, and it's a 4/4. But then again, it is a taunt, so chances are you don't know when your opponent might pop it. They might take advantage of that in a situation where you flood your board, or because you have an abomination out, you can't control um in your own way, where a corrupted seer is more of a battle cry and you can control um when you want to play it. So here, since I'm not doing Arena Druid, I'll play 2 Innervates, 1 Wild Growth. I think that's sufficient. Um, I know that I can easily get the Maya Keeper in here somehow. Maybe take out Starfall. But the reason why I have Starfall in here is because it acts just like a Corrupted Seer, if not better. So let's just test it out. Um, I try to avoid having too many legendaries, even though I have 3 legendaries here. Um, the use of Fandral is more of a tempo card than an actual thing, even though I have the new cards like Shell Shifter or something like that, that actually is able to use um, the advantages of Fandral. Uh, but we will see. We will see if I draw it. Um, I'm gonna hope that this game works out pretty well. I mean, if it's Druid versus Druid or something, as long as they're not playing Jade Golem Druid, my deck should pan out. Jade Golem Druid is the one that hurts the most. I would say since its release uh, from the last time. So hopefully it's not Jade Druid. Here I'm just gonna mulligan that, and I should have mulliganed the. Um, I guess I should have done the ooze as well since it's a druid, but I just thought of, naming because I named this deck Tempo Druid that I should stick with it. So here, since I have the 1 of Wild Growth and I go second, I should just do the Wild Growth thing. And also because I have at least 2 cards in my hand that cost 3. So it is a Cthulhu Druid, which is good news for me because my deck archetype um, is kind of going against Cthulhu Druids in the hopes that because I start second and I had that wild growth, I'm ahead of the other person for putting down the Dark Arrokoa because I love the Dark Arrokoa. Shame that he had the Wrath, but he has to trade in the creature, so um, it's a good news for me. Um, and this is a well-timed Innervate. Lagging here. And the reason why it's a well-timed Innervate is because I can put down my Arrokoa really early, and he just used a Wrath. So unless he has a second Wrath, um, my Arrokoa would live for at least 2 turns, and he can't attack into it unless he has heals. And speaking of the Keeper of the Grove, the 2 damage is very, very helpful here. Um, of course, I would have loved to save this for, silencing Cthulhu or something, but if I want to keep my guy away from swipe range, because if I attacked the ooze, then my Araqua would be down to 4 health, and that would cost me a swipe and the hero power. Speaking of swipe, I drew my swipe, but um, and I am only gonna play 3 creatures, and the reason for that is because um, I know that it sounds strange, but Druid is one of the classes that had MC tech for a long time, mind control tech for a very long time. And I remember that there was one game where I was playing like kind of a mill healing druid version against a mill druid. We were both kind of a mill druid thing, but I played in such a way that I knew he had MC tech and he ended up revealing it. But in the first 7 turns, I totally outplayed him. Should I use the BJH now? I don't think so, even though I could play it. I think I can just hold out and just spend my swipe since he's playing 1 to 2 creatures at a time. And not only that, if he has actually an MC tech in his deck, I would prefer having 1 creature, 1 to 2 creatures on the board instead. Um, and that's the best way to play a druid is to minimally um, play the board. Bog Creeper, I guess I could have used my BGH so that I can trade into this in a better way. Uh, huh. I don't remember what yeah, no. I for some reason I thought this was like, like ancient lore where I could heal something, but no, obviously not the case. So I should play my Starfall onto this and just get him to attack into my Arrokoa. I think my Arrokoa has done enough um, already for me. Even though I don't have a board presence after I lose this, but he is down half of his life remaining and more, since he has to attack into this, most likely. Yeah, Panther is fine. Oh, perfect. Easy. Look at that. Corrupted Seer. The power of Corrupted Seer. I've done this, like I said earlier when I was making the deck list. I've done that against Tavern Brawl, and I've also done it against a slow Zoo on turn 5, where my opponent played Flame Imp, tap into his second Flame Imp, um, and since he couldn't start off with Flame Imps, he started the mid game with Flame Imps that on turn 6, on exactly my turn 6, I had Corrupted Seer ready to counter the double Flame Imp and tap that he just wasted 8 HP because each Flame Imp costs 3 health. So I just drew lethal with Feral Rage. I hope you enjoyed it. It is a very low rank game because I just came back from a 5-month hiatus, but um, I really hope that you enjoyed this. I thought I played this one really pretty well.